It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Tevin, the 702, coming back at you for that Monday boxing recap known as the Shoe Shine. All right, guys, generally, you know the deal. Usually, Philly Irish Drew Evo is with me. Guys, keep Drew in your prayers as he had a little bit of a health scare last week, and he won't be joining us tonight. But if you feel so inclined to hop in and join the channel and be a live participant, I'll drop the link, and you guys could be my special co-host for tonight. Or you could just lay back, chill, listen to the show, and hit that like, and make sure you're subscribed. Saludos, everybody joining us. I appreciate it. We got Sergio Fernandez in the house. He says, yo, Jimenez Video Productions, ¿Qué ole, Sonteo Media? ¿Qué onda, homie? Speaking of, I see Sergio in here. Baseball season is officially underway, guys, and this has been really bothering me. We're going to get to some boxing, but you know, I live here in Las Vegas now, and I'm anxiously awaiting to see the development and the plans of the former Oakland A's. I guess now they're in Sacramento, soon to be the Las Vegas A's. But I saw some shit today that just I could not believe, guys. The Oakland A's are now playing, obviously, in Sacramento, a minor league park. And if you are a member of the media, okay, this is what you can look forward to. Apparently, this is the... This is where the media gets to hang out before and after post. It looks like a shack, guys. It's basically, here's a better picture of it from the outside. It looks like a fucking tough shed. It looks like a tough shed is where the Oakland A's media members get to do interviews and meet with the the players and the coaches after the game. They are basically in a non-insulated shack, and I can imagine they need a portable AC unit because Sacramento is going to get really hot in the summer, even hotter here in Las Vegas, guys. But listen, if you're anxiously awaiting for the Las Vegas A's to arrive, it's going to be a minute, guys. I think, the finance portion of it is still in limbo. They're actually going to sell shares if you're interested in that. I don't even know how you could buy shares of the Oakland A's, but they're for sale. But what's really bothering me, guys, about as baseball gets underway are these guys. That's right. The New York Yankees. It seems to me that they're playing with not only loaded bats, but they're willing to use every advantage that a mega team like the Yankees, and I see what you put in here. Dodgers 5-0. I'm just a little bit jealous, guys. I don't know how the Yankees have the fattest bats. The other day they scored 20 points and league leading home runs. And I mean, I remember Corky having a corked bat. I mean, this is some fucking bullshit, guys. Come on, man. What, the Dodgers are going to have this too next? I've been reading that other teams are greatly interested in how they can get their hands on these custom-made MIT scientist bats. That's right. Shout out to SB. Hit that like button. Make sure you hit that like button, guys. It's going to help us tonight get some more people in the room. I'm very upset about that. So upset I forgot to put on my SF Giants hat because I know some of you guys would probably troll. We got to beat the Dodgers somehow. That's right, Sergio. We got to beat the Dodgers somehow. Send us some of those to the SF Giants. Can you give us the guy who's manufacturing these bats? We could definitely use some help over here, guys. Thanks, everybody, joining us. It's the Shoe Shine Monday night. I'll do my best to do the show here on my own. Share the show if you like on your socials, guys. We're going to get into a recap of the weekend's activities in boxing. Two very, very good rematches. The first fights were so good they had to run them back, and on the same weekend, as a matter of fact. Now, while I see, Matt S says the bats on steroids. I can't believe that. As I see one of my great mods in here, SB, if you didn't catch that short I made, I'll have it right now. I'm going to have a shot of tequila by myself. I love to drink, as most of you guys do too. So let me just get a picture up here in the mid. All right, here we go. Let's do that. Anyways, guys, because thank you to SB for sponsoring this one. I went looking for some tequila, and this thing is a real bargain. And I keep seeing it. I've seen people on Fremont Street in the Club Clyde. You guys see a shout out to Cadillac family and all the streamers out there. I seen this was a big hit at Club Clyde, guys. So I'm like, well, shit. It's under $20. I got to try this Gran Malo. It's been out for a while. Supposedly it's infused with tamarindo. So it's like an agua fresca. But again, if you're a tequila aficionado, this is not technically tequila. It's only 30% ABV, which means it's kind of light on the alcohol, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. Some of us could do with less alcoholic content. But it seems to be a big hit, so I'm going to have a shot of this and let you guys know what I think of it again. That's really easy to drink, guys. That's really, really easy to drink. It is very syrupy tasting. If you're a fan of Mexican candies, you'd fucking love that. You guys are going to love that. If you like dulces or Mexican candies, you can taste the tamarindo and just a little bit of heat at the end. But it is sweet, guys. So if you get headaches off of sweet drinks, you may want to limit how many shots you have of that. Maybe chase that with the beer because it is a little bit on the sweet side. All right, let's get into some boxing talk, guys. Thank you so much for joining me again, guys. I need to bring this up. This is boxing-related news before we get to the recap. Unfortunately, there's been another death in the sport of boxing. You guys know that the sport is very dear to my heart. I think it's the epitome of combat sports. Only the UFC can truly compare. But because of that, it is the deadliest sport in the world, guys. And I have to report that there was a death this weekend. It's barely making news here in the U.S. This was an official, I believe it was a WBO sanctioned fight. Nigerian fighter Gabriel Oluwasquin, 40 years old, record of 13-8, was fighting on Friday this weekend. The country's Olympic Committee and Boxing Authority confirmed the death of the athlete. His name is Gabriel again, guys. 40 years old, but still fighting. He died this weekend. So this is not club level boxing. This is legit boxing in Africa. And there are pictures circulating on the internet of the KO that happened, and he died. Apparently, some of the news articles are reporting that he died in the ring. And others are saying that he was shuffled off by medical staff and died shortly thereafter. It is the most dangerous sport in the world, guys. Salute to F Donuts. Appreciate you, man. Go ahead and drop your channel link again, guys. And I bring this up because every year, anywhere from 5 to 12 fighters die in the sport of boxing globally. It's extremely dangerous. And we'll be talking about, for one thing, one of my favorite featherweight champions who recently lost his title, El Venado Lopez of Mexicali, returned to the ring this weekend, guys. Yeah, I know we talked about Top Rank, and we're going to talk about the DAZN fight in Cancun. But, I mean, he just basically fought off the radar of most people after losing his title to Las Vegas's Angelo Leo, featherweight champion El Venado Lopez, former now featherweight champion, fought this weekend quietly in Mexicali. And the reason why it's so important to follow his career is because he was advised not to return to boxing after being viciously knocked out by Angelo Leo. He fought this weekend. I think he knocked out his opponent in just 2 rounds. So congratulations to El Venado Lopez. But remember, guys, he suffered a very, very serious brain bleed. And against probably doctor's advice, he's returning to boxing. And he did win by knockout, so kudos to him. But again, it's very dangerous. And where we head going forward in the sport for watching guys like this is, could he end up back in title contention? Again, he's already suffered a brain bleed. It's great risk here. Which brings me to another story before we get to the recap, guys. I have to share this with you because this is another thing that went under this radar this week. Is an article that was written by the Guardian, which is a UK publication, The Guardian, online, and you guys can go and read this article. And if you love the sport of boxing or combat sports as much as I do, you need to read this because they're truly suppressing. I think this is being suppressed, guys. Let me try to screen share so you guys can see at least what I'm talking about here. There it is. It's the article written by The Guardian. It's about the death of Paul Bamba, guys, a former Marine who was featured on Misfits Boxing at one point, Puerto Rican guy. Recently, you guys heard about Paul Bamba because he had 14 knockouts in one calendar year. 14 knockouts in one calendar year. All right. His appearance on Misfits Boxing, he fought a fighter from Stockton, California. Again, Misfits is kind of like this hybrid YouTube star shit where YouTube stars or media personalities can end up fighting. The guy he fought, Chris Avila, I believe he's a former UFC fighter. And Chris Avila can box, and he has been a sparring partner of Nick Diaz and worked extensively in Nick Diaz's camps in Stockton, California. He was embarrassed thoroughly. Paul Bamba was embarrassed thoroughly in just a 4-rounder on Misfits Boxing on DAZN. Ends up being a club fighter with, I think, like an 8-3 record. I don't know. I want you guys to read this article because he just died last year after winning a WBA gold cruiserweight match. Okay? So he actually, according to his box rec, he won 14 fights by knockout in 2024, leading up to this fight against Porky Medina. Porky Medina is a super middleweight that has fought so many people, including David Benavidez. He's fought a lot of established names. In that fight, the gold cruiserweight WBA thing, kind of a bullshit belt, but again, the WBA was involved. Porky Medina, a legit guy. Porky Medina did not get off the stool. He complained about a leg cramp. He wasn't hurt at all. And he complained about a leg cramp, and Paul Bamba ends up winning the fight against, well, a guy who's given a lot of real fighters problems. It was kind of a mysterious ending to this fight. Just a week after this, which should have been a tremendous win. Again, guys, a very mysterious win. Like I said, Porky Medina quit on the stool. Well, if you go and you look at this investigative report, which is quite long, as you guys can see, I'm scrolling on this, and I want you guys to go and read this on The Guardian. Paul Bamba appeared to have self-financed with his own ambition, with his own money, 14 fights, most of them which took place in Colombia by shady sanctioning bodies, but sanctioning bodies that actually report the wins on BoxRec. BoxRec is where all professional fighters list their wins and losses. Some of the fights of the 14 are reportedly, and here's a video of the fight where I was talking about him versus Chris Avila of Stockton, where he was embarrassed fully on DAZN. Misfits Boxing too, not really technically considered. I don't know if they list these wins on BoxRecs. But Paul Bamba goes on to win this fight against Porky Medina, and just less than 2 weeks later, he's found dead in his bedroom. When you finally get down to the bottom, and rest in peace to Paul Bamba and all his, his dreams and aspirations were to fight Jake Paul. Immediately after winning this fight against Porky Medina and getting this WBA Gold Cruiserweight title, his marketing team started, demanding a fight with Jake Paul. Naturally, right? Hey, here's a guy who won 14 fights in a row by knockout in one calendar year. Let's fight. Let's run it, Jake Paul. We have a legitimate, real boxer. Problem is, if you read this article, most of these fights in Colombia supposedly didn't take place. In fact, it says here that on one occasion, he had 2 knockouts in 1 week. The story goes to point out how easy it is if you have the money behind you to not only stage fake fights that never took place that will end up on your BoxRec record. It's so much so that you can fake your way up into the rankings to a actual WBA gold cruiserweight fight. Unfortunately for Paul Bamba, even after this fight he took with Chris Avila, who I just showed you guys, this Chris Avila fight on DAZN and Misfits, he was evaluated by a neurologist and had MRIs. And I have a close boxer friend here who's retired in Las Vegas who went underneath the same tests and protocols to see if there was something going on with his brain. Immediately after this fight, they found a ton of white matter in his brain. So he had some serious brain issues developing right after this fight against Chris Avila. And he was found dead. Wiley Coyote says he's 151-0. Sonteo Media, stage fights. What are we talking about? I'm talking about this article that I want all of you guys to go and read because it's still really actually happening across the world, which is why we end up seeing people that are like 25-0 fighting at the top rank, fighting Emiliano Vargas, and you never fucking heard of him in your life. Unfortunately for Chris Bamba, who was trying to make himself a star and actually got the attention of Jake Paul, he died about 2 weeks after his final fight. Rest in peace to Paul Bamba. And I want to have you guys, again, this is on theguardian.com. People aren't talking about this article. People don't want to talk about it. I will because it's Monday and I'm also reporting to you guys that we lost a fighter, a real fighter. I'm going back to this one real quick. But rest in peace to Gabriel, who passed away in a WBO sanctioned fight in Africa this weekend. It looks like he succumbed to a serious brain injury. I'm sure they'll do the autopsies, but it appears that he suffered a dramatic brain injury mid-fight. And some of people are reporting that he died in the ring. When we say leave it in the ring, that's not exactly what we mean, guys. Rest in peace to him, guys. I had a shot at tequila. I won't have another one unless you guys, maybe I should, man. I'm not trying to bring you guys down on a Monday, man, but I got to remind you guys, when we watch boxing, when you even casual fans of the sport watch it, just remember that these people are sacrificing everything for you and our enjoyment, for their family, for their legacy. Very sad, very tragic, guys. Yeah, rest in peace, another fighter. And again, guys, go check out that article because even Devin Haney, even Devin and Bill reportedly paid for fights early on when he was under the age of 18 in Tijuana, Mexico. Some dubious wins. There's even reports that Devin's dad paid to have a loss in a Tijuana bar erased from the history books. Rest in peace to George Foreman, one of the greats, right? Right, guys? Let's talk about what went down this weekend at the Fontainebleau. I don't have pictures, but speaking of Emiliano Vargas, the son of Fernando Ferros Vargas, he comes away on the undercard on ESPN, if you have ESPN Plus, with a vicious four-piece knockout performance. He's already trash-talking Keyshawn Davis, which I find kind of strange. But again, they are on the same promotion at Top Rank. But knowing how things are slowly stars are developed at Top Rank, I don't think that Emiliano Vargas is going to be fighting Keyshawn Davis anytime soon. And so it's basically all talk. We want to hear them aspire to big fights, but we also have to stay cognizant that these fights aren't going to happen next week. You know what I mean? So sometimes you have to slow down the shit talking before you're at that level, because I expected Emiliano Vargas to come away with a performance like that, a knockout against a guy with over 25 career fights. Again, I never even seen the guy fight who he knocked out. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, guys. This is the game of boxing, unfortunately. This is the business of boxing. You get guys who look like they are going to be world champions. You try to develop them the right way, where they learn something in each and every fight. And if you do it correctly as a matchmaker, you do develop a star, and you do develop a massive talent and somebody that's going to be, maybe a generational talent if you do it the right way. And a lot of champions have been done the right way. Top Rank is one of the best. But we don't expect to see Xander Zayas and Emiliano Vargas is getting getting beat up by fucking journeymen who've actually been in with, you don't expect that early on in their careers. So also on that card, Tiger Johnson, Castaneda. He knocks out Castaneda. Another thing that I kind of anticipated, but I wanted to see if Castaneda would, like he's given a lot of other people kind of a road dog journeyman without a promoter. He didn't rough up Tiger Johnson at all in that undercard performance. And so, again, another easy win for me. The third one on that card, guys, which is very important, is the Bruce Carrington guy. Bruce Carrington from New York. I saw him against Segawa, who is also an African fighter that was brought in to fight Ruben Villa, and he beat my good friend from Salinas, Ruben Villa, at the Palms Casino, which is where the fights are going to be this weekend again if you're coming to Las Vegas. At the Palms Casino, Top Rank is putting on a card this weekend, which is being headlined by Richard Torres. Silver Olympic medalist Richard Torres is going to be an interesting card. Anyway, Segawa, in my opinion, did not get the nod against Bruce Carrington. Ruben Villa easily could have been in Bruce Carrington's shoes right now had he not gotten upset by Segawa, the African fighter. Segawa did not get the nod against Carrington. It's funny how some fighters for Top Rank do get the nod and others don't get the nod, and they get sent by the wayside. In that fight, Bruce Carrington, in my opinion, humble opinion, lost a very close competitive match. But here he finds himself knocking on the door of a title opportunity. Now the mandatory for... Where's Drew? Where's my Philly co-host, man? He's now the mandatory for Stephen Fulton, the 126-pound PBC featherweight. He is the mandatory, except Stephen Fulton is being talked about moving up to 130 pounds to fight Oshaki Foster on the undercard. On the undercard of Gervonta Tank Davis, June something. PBC's making a reservation date at the T-Mobile. It looks like Gervonta Tank Davis is going to be running it back against Lamont Roach right here in Las Vegas. And it is being rumored that Stephen Fulton, the featherweight champion, is moving up in weight. What will happen? Will this actually happen? Or will they give, like, the big news of the day, guys, today that I'm listening to, is that there is a strong possibility, from Bob Arum's words. Let me turn down the saturation of my camera. I look fucking red. Shout out to Mom Food. I appreciate you, Mom Food. We were watching your stream earlier, guys. Make sure you guys support my homegirl, Mom Food, an awesome YouTube content creator. And you know what? Speaking of, shout out to her because she had a commercial, guys. Shout out to Mom Food. She got the AdSense popping, got commercials. That's a big deal amongst YouTube content creators. I don't know if you know Mom Food. I mean, you probably do, but I was watching you, all of a sudden a commercial popped up. Anyways, guys, back to Bruce Carrington. I don't want to take anything away from Bruce Carrington this weekend because, quite honestly, he had a fantastic performance against a Mexican opponent. He was doing a lot of the stuff that makes Bruce Carrington look special. He actually accomplished this weekend, and he now cements himself as a number one mandatory to Drew's Philadelphia fighter. And Philadelphia fighters are going to be in the news quite a bit because the main event, guys, was a Philadelphia fighter. And he's going down as one of my favorite Philadelphia fighters of this modern era. Now I'm talking about Tevin Farmer, who we saw fight in Cancun, Mexico. We'll get to that fight shortly, guys. Let's get to the main event. Excuse me. The co-main event, Brian Norman Jr. Speaking of Philadelphia fighters, guys, he fights a guy named Cuevas, who I had to go watch the highlight reels. Cuevas from Puerto Rico, guys. It had been over almost a year since he had fought and beat San Diego's Giovanni Santillan in a brutal beatdown of Giovanni Santillan, where he won the interim WBO title, only then getting the notification from the WBO that he was going to be elevated to full champion status when Terrence Bud Crawford's, basically let them know, hey, guys, I'm no longer fighting at 147. Do what you want with those belts. Brian Norman was awarded full title status, and the negotiations began shortly thereafter to fight Philadelphia fighter Jerome Boots Ennis, one of the best right now, my opinion, the best welterweight in the world right now. And negotiations began, and Matchroom Boxing offered a record high $1.7 million to Brian Norman Jr. And somehow, going back and forth, Brian Norman Jr. said it was not enough. Now, that fucking befuddles the hell out of me, excuse my language, but how do you say $1.7 million is not enough when you've been earning roughly $100,000 in your last fight? How was that not enough money? And I'll tell you right now, there is no way that he made anywhere that close money as being the co-main feature on ESPN Saturday card. Again, he did beat the out of this guy from Puerto Rico in just 3 rounds, and that's what we want to see out of champions if the opponent is outmatched. We want to see exactly that. The question is now, will the winner of the unification, because Boots Ennis moved on. Boots Ennis is going to be fighting a unification against Eniana Stanionis in a unification match, in one match that I think is, quite honestly, potentially 50-50, man. Stanionis is a brilliant European boxer. Should Boots Ennis get the win and unify titles, does he go back to chasing a title opportunity of title unification with Brian Norman Jr.? I know the dream of Boots Ennis is to be undisputed welterweight champion. Does he go back and offer Brian Norman Jr. again with Matchroom Boxing, with Eddie Hearn? Do they go back and offer him 1.8? Do they offer him 1.5? Do they go back and make any offer? And what would you guys do, knowing that this guy already turned down $1.7 million? Now, Brian Norman Jr., after this impressive win on Saturday, and I was, my prediction was a little off, guys. I said on Thursday night that if I was betting, that I did like the underdog story in Cuevas, but that I said, if you listen back to the show, I said most likely it would end by stoppage by Brian Norman. I said Brian Norman has done fantastic against Latino opponents, Mexican Americans, Puerto Rican fighters. Yeah, he's gotten the best of all of them. So the champion retains his title, moves on, and the question is, who does he fight next? Because what we're hearing from Bob Arum is that there is a strong likelihood that he is going to be working with PBC very closely now, and that the potential matchups are, if I'm salivating at the potential matchups, guys, Gervonta Tank Davis versus Lomachenko, Stephen Fulton versus Bruce Carrington. How about Xander Zayas versus PBC's champion, unified champion, Sebastian Fundora? How about Xander Zayas versus Jesus Ramos Jr. from Arizona? I mean, the matchups between PBC and Top Rank, now that we're hearing Bob Arum as, a 94-year-old man, that he's willing to really work closely with them. And as a lot of people thinking PBC's done with, that they're, no. In fact, Bob Arum and Top Rank, who's doing the show here Saturday at the Palms, well, maybe they're going to find a home at Amazon Prime. And I think that actually that Amazon Prime deal would be a really good one, because I've had zero streaming issues watching PBC fights on Amazon Prime. You give yourself a second avenue for Amazon Prime members to watch boxing, which we've grown accustomed to watching on ESPN. Now you just watch it on Amazon Prime. Most people in America have an Amazon Prime membership now to get the quick deliveries. I think that Top Rank moving to Amazon Prime is a fantastic idea. And it also separates and gives some room in America for competition against DAZN. Hey, DAZN can have Matchroom. DAZN can have Oscars, Golden Boy. They are, you know what I mean? They've got plenty of outfits, Queensbury. They got plenty of boxing on that. Bob Rank working with PBC is a very good thing for American boxing. So anyways, Brian Norman Jr. retains his title, guys. Let's talk about this, the running back of Mayer Ryan 2, guys. Mikeala Mayer, fantastic women's champion, wins her first title against Hamadouche. That was the first time I really realized, oh man, Mikeala is going to be a special fighter for women's boxing. This is a fight where she was losing. I remember Mayer Hamadouche, her first time going for a title, 130 pounds, I believe, guys. Big difference in weight now from 130 to 147. Listening to her corner and instruction, she turned it around and beat the champion Hamadouche right here at the Virgin Hotel in Las Vegas. A champion who had defended her title for, I think, 14 defenses in Hamadouche. Fantastic fight where I realized, wow, Mikeala is going to be a great women's champion. Then again, I was here in Las Vegas, but not attending that fight. Obviously, one of the biggest fights of her career, her sole loss to Alicia Baumgartner. A very, very close fight, one where I think she did lose a close fight. And then Alicia Baumgartner, she's just been signed by Jake Paul, guys. But we're not going to escape talking about it. Mikeala Mayer fought Alicia Baumgardner. Shortly thereafter, Alicia Baumgardner, I think in her next fight, was caught on anabolic steroids. Was Alicia Baumgardner on anabolic steroids leading up in her entire career against Mikeala Mayer? We'll never know. She wasn't caught for that particular fight, but she was caught in this fight thereafter against an opponent that should not have been as big of a threat as Mikeala Mayer. Mikeala Mayer, Alicia Baumgardner are going back and forth. Now, Alicia Baumgardner has the benefit of working with Jake Paul, who has tons of money to throw into fights behind Taylor Serrano. 1, 2, now 3. People want this rematch, but this is a good fight for women's boxing, for boxing in general. They want the rematch. Will it be agreed? What terms will it be agreed upon? We don't know, but for the moment, Mikeala's happy to say she's moving on to other challenges. She is thirsting to fight, let's see here, Lauren Price. She wants to start unifying welterweight titles, and that's a good thing, man. I think the last undisputed champion was Jessica McCaskill at welterweight. And so Mikeala Mayer, good for her. She beats, in this fight, I'm going to say she got bloodied up, guys. She got bloodied up pretty good. I'll show you guys testament of how she got bloodied up. She did sustain some cuts and challenges, like I said, and Sandy Ryan turned it up at the end of the fight. She made for a very entertaining women's championship boxing match at the Fontainebleau. I got to give it up to Top Rank in Fontainebleau. It looked pretty crowded. It looked like, you could see the second tier was almost completely filled up. This was good for boxing. All right. I got a comment here from Wiley Coyote. Says that chick that fought in the UFC this past weekend crapped her pants in the second round, but she won her fight. Oh my God. I think I saw that show up on my timeline where they asked her in between rounds, and I thought I heard that the woman said, "I got to take a shit." I didn't know she crapped her pants. Speaking of UFC, guys, her name was Godinez. Oh my God, I gotta go and check that out. But speaking of the UFC, there is some big news that I forgot, guys. There is some very big news. For one thing, I talked about, you guys know I'm born and raised in San Francisco, and I'm excited that Alcatraz, I think it's sometime in 2026, Turki Al-Sheikh is going to go ahead and move forward with a fight at Alcatraz. That's right, the famous prison Alcatraz is going to be hosting a boxing event. And speaking of UFC stars, Conor McGregor apparently was offered potentially the main event for this fight. There were a cage match. They were going to have a cage match and boxing. Conor McGregor tastefully declined, saying, "I know my worth," and that Turki Al-Sheikh's money, I guess it wasn't enough money. But other big news, this is the UFC fight from Saturday in Mexico, right? This is the one we're talking about with Julio Cesar Chavez walked in. Rory Boy, what's this guy's name? This guy's he lost, right? Which is a shame, because I don't think I think it's barely his second UFC fight, but already he was developing a massive fan base. And the UFC is developing a huge fan base in Mexico. But this is the big news. Come Mexican Independence Day weekend, Saturday, the UFC is going to be they're moving from Mexico City. I just had some tequila from Guadalajara. They're moving to have UFC Noche, which took place last year in Las Vegas at the Sphere. They're going to be doing another Mexican UFC event. This time it's actually in Mexico, in Guadalajara. This could be a big deal, as Mexico's really turning up for UFC. They're really getting into the UFC. That might be the untapped market that Dana White was really hoping for. This may compete. I don't know if this is any indication. You guys have to remember that Dana White might likely be the promoter of the Terrence Bud Crawford Canelo Alvarez fight, which leads me to believe that great fight might take place on a Friday or potentially a Sunday. Now, if you look at what's going on in Las Vegas that weekend, there is a major concert September 13th, Saturday, at the, I think it's Post Malone. I think it's Post Malone or somebody really big. So the football stadium, Allegiant, is not available Saturday the 13th. I'm just speculating. It could be that they may be moving the actual Terrence Bud Crawford Canelo Alvarez fight to the week after Mexican Independence Day, or if they can flip the stadium in time around, maybe they will pursue a fight at Allegiant Stadium on September 12th or September 14th. But I'm just speculating, guys. Ronaldo Rodriguez is lazy. Yeah, that's the guy I was talking about. He lost, right? I'm going to take that off. Again, rest in peace to Gabriel, guys. But Mikeala Mayer comes away with a win. Those UFC news is really important because it might overlap with what's going on for the Canelo Terrence Bud Crawford fight, knowing that they are aiming to have that take place in Las Vegas and on Netflix. And a fight of that magnitude deserves to be in a stadium. Canelo's already came close to selling out Dallas, Texas football stadium. If you're going to have it in Nevada, you might as well test his star power and see if he could, fill up the Allegiant Stadium, which I think they could if it's priced attractively. The fans are going to come to Vegas. It all depends on pricing, guys. It always depends on pricing. I had a short when people were asking me, Vegas is dead. Vegas is dead. And then I do a video on March Madness. I did a small short, and there was thousands and thousands of people at my local casino, the South Point Casino, because the South Point Casino had value. They had deals. They had food deals. They had alcohol deals. They had betting deals. I mean, if you do the right thing for the consumer, they will show up. They'll show up. Speaking of fighters that get crowds to show up, it's time to talk about what went down this weekend in Cancun, Mexico. I do have the CompuBox for Mikeala Mayer in that fight, but to be honest, that one wasn't questionable. I think Mikeala Mayer resoundingly won that fight. Let me take you guys back to Cosmopolitan. I was there with our boy Fonzie619. See here, one of these videos is the one. That's not the one. That is not the one. All right, guys. That's the 12th round at the Cosmopolitan. William El Camarón Cepeda. I told you guys that I had really amazing seats because they fumbled. They oversold the fight. This is the only fight in recent memory at the Cosmopolitan that I could resoundingly say was close to being sold out. This was sold out just about at the Cosmopolitan. In fact, they oversold tickets, which is why, as you can see, I'm literally sitting right behind the DAZN broadcast team, maybe a row or two behind them. This guy was stopped. This is the British Maxie Hughes, British boxing star. And the video I wanted to show you guys that I talked about last week was just how big the entourage is. How many people William Cepeda travels with. Sorry about the loud volume, guys. That's William Cepeda's ring entrance right there. That's not the one I'm looking for. They're not clearly labeled. So I'm shuffling to see. That was that one. That's Virgil Ortiz. Again, not the video I'm looking for. And that's not the video I'm looking for either. Is this the one? All right, guys. That is William Cepeda's wife, I take it. Father, family, brothers, sisters. This is how many people William Cepeda rolled into Vegas with. Okay? It just keeps going. William Cepeda is a star. I mean, you send him in, you put him at the Virgin Hotel, the Cosmopolitan, the Palms. He is going to sell out the venue, guys. This is like the largest entourage of fans and family members that I can remember seeing in recent history. Thank you guys for bearing through with that. Anyways, we'll talk about that William Cepeda now. His incredible rematch this weekend, but more importantly, I want to talk about Tevin Farmer. This statement came out today, guys. We've joked about it. People joke about this. Tevin Farmer has a lazy eye, but he wanted people to know something about it. And Tevin Farmer, I give him all the credit and respect in the world as a fighter. This is a guy whose actual record does not reflect the type of fighter he is. Quote, "I've kept this private for a long time, but I see the concern and speculation about my tic. I have Tourette syndrome. I've dealt with it all my life. No neurological issues, so no need to worry. I'm still out here putting belt. I don't know, but there you go. The rabbit is out of the hat." And as you can see, Tevin Farmer's lazy eye. There's always been a lot of speculation about him. And now people are asking for him to retire. 33-8. I said it on Thursday. I said it last week, guys. He did not lose that fight against Raymond Murataya. I was at this fight last year at the Palms Casino. He was brought in as a former world champion at 130 pounds. They wanted to see how Raymond Murataya would do against a former world champion. And I was shocked. Tevin Farmer, I thought, got the win, and he was not awarded the win. Then he goes on to get a performance, to put on a fight against William Zepeda, an opportunity he could not resist. William Zepeda only having to take that fight because Shakur Stevenson's hands were busted up. Shakur Stevenson's hands, he said, I'm not ready to fight William Zepeda, and so that fight fell apart. Tevin Farmer gets the opportunity. He fights William Zepeda. Fantastic matchup. The first one that Tevin Farmer, in my opinion, outboxed William Zepeda. Some of you guys think he came on late. And he didn't get the nod again. Now bringing up his losses to 7, which the last 2 were obviously not losses in my book. They just weren't. And now people are asking if he should retire. Let's talk about what happened on this weekend, all right? This weekend, he did not win this fight, in my opinion. William Zepeda wins this fight. Brutal fight, guys. It looks like in the second round, Tevin Farmer sustains an injury to his hand or arm. And because of that, he can't defend himself well. And then it looks like he's knocked out completely on his feet, but not down. Just looks like he was fighting unconscious. He stays in the fight, injury or not. Then almost gets knocked out again. Fighting on sheer heart, whatever you want to call it, man. Sheer heart, courage. Almost gets knocked down again in the 7th round. And then rallies back after William Zepeda gasses out from throwing an unbelievable amount of punches, guys. William Zepeda, let's look at the CompuBox, guys. I talked about round 2. Tevin Farmer threw 5 punches. Landed 5 punches, 5 punches of 48 versus William Zepeda. 124 effing punches thrown in round 2, 42 of which landed. This guy is an offensive powerhouse. Round 2, he throws 124. Round 3, he throws 95. Try throwing 60 punches in 3 minutes as a non-boxer and see what happens to your heart. 118 punches thrown in round 5. And again, I think it was round 7 where I thought he really almost got hurt. But as we got on in the fight, the numbers declined dramatically. Round 9, 65 punches. Round 10, 55. Round 11, 68. And in round 12, we see Tevin Farmer, in my opinion, not only did he win that round, 27 of 74 punches thrown, but he dropped. He dropped him. He dropped El Camarón William Zepeda. He dropped him. He dropped him in the first fight. He drops him in the second fight again. And the referee says, no. Slip. Not a knockdown. Guys, it was a knockdown. You see it in my thumbnail? It was a knockdown. Nonetheless, one of the judges had this fight 114, a draw. Had they scored that a knockdown, well, Tevin Farmer would have won on that card. The other judges had it appropriately scored, I believe, 8 rounds to 4 for William Zepeda. That's how I had it scored. I had William Zepeda winning 8 of 4 rounds, but that one round that I think Tevin Farmer really won in the 12th round, he should have been credited with a knockdown. But even with the knockdown, I can't come up with, Tevin Farmer winning this fight on Saturday. So what happened in both of these rematches this weekend, guys? What happens is that, well, Mikeala Mayer, she put away any rumors that the first fight was close. She dominates. Mikeala Mayer dominates in her rematch performance as world champion. For William Zepeda, well, William Zepeda, Entourage and all. And by the way, guys, DAZN, come on, guys. I didn't even watch that fight live, guys. Nobody's DAZN was working right. I heard they had no audio. I don't know. I had to watch that later on in the evening. I'm not even going to tell you how I watched it, but I watched it later on, and thank God that I was able to watch the entire thing. For William Zepeda, who put on an incredible, I mean, this guy, the amount of punches he throws is unreal, guys. I mean, he hurts you with jabs, stiff jabs, the amount of body punching to Tevin Farmer that Tevin Farmer sustained. I've never seen a guy, he has so much, he's a machine. Tevin Farmer's a machine too, guys. He's a former world champion. All the respect to him. He could take an unbelievable amount of punishment and come back and give you performances that are extremely close. He should have won the first one. Everybody wants to see Shakur versus William Zepeda. Naturally, we've been waiting for this one. I want it. Turkey Al Sheikh wants this fight too, guys. Let's get this fight as soon as possible. Let's see it as soon as possible. As soon as Shakur's brittle hands are ready to go, let's see this fight next. As for Tevin Farmer, for people calling for him to retire, you guys are tripping. You were tripping. Tevin Farmer should not have these 3 losses on his record in a row. Honestly, if Tevin Farmer could give any of the guys, including Keyshawn Davis, work. He can give Lomachenko work, Tourette syndrome, lazy eye, and all. With his record, he deserves to be a top 5, 135-pound fighter. And it is what it is. William Zepeda, if he wants to give a trilogy, the fans will want it. This fight should happen right here in Las Vegas at the Cosmopolitan, guys. I would love to see that. Sorry about that, guys. It's been fun, guys, talking with you guys. It's very hard for me to do a full hour. I am going to come back on the air either Wednesday with Drew or potentially Thursday to talk about this weekend's fights. Again, check out that article I told you guys about on The Guardian regarding Paul Bamba, the fighter, and how he manufactured 14 wins in one calendar year. And unfortunately, rest in peace, he passed away from what appeared to be a brain injury that he didn't know had been developing that bad. Go check that article out, guys. All right, there's a lot of other stuff happening, guys. We'll talk more about it later on this week. If you're a fan of Inoue, who's coming to Las Vegas to fight on Cinco de Mayo weekend, the unification for Undisputed is almost done. The negotiations are ongoing, and they're getting closer and closer for this Undisputed matchup. So I think it's the only belt. Or is it? No, actually, he's undisputed right now, guys. I apologize. He's undisputed. But again, MJ is a guy that was seen a champion that he's been appearing to duck, and he has a mandatory position. And I guess before he moves up to featherweight, we are going to get that matchup. Also, if you're a fan of Nakatani, Japan's Nakatani, it looks like they're also in discussion to talk, man. A lot of things are moving greatly in that direction. I'm going to turn off my TV behind me, guys. This weekend, we got boxing back in Las Vegas. I appreciate everybody that stayed to the end of the show. Drop me a comment if you did. This weekend, we have the return of Richard Torres, now a headliner. Richard Torres, the silver Olympic medalist. I think Fonzie and the crew are coming for that weekend. We'll see if we head down to the Palms Casino. Show you guys that picture really quickly. Or I won't. Actually, can't even find it, guys. Again, thank you to my sponsor for tonight's tequila, to SB. Big thank you to you for this bottle right here. A big thanks to everybody that watched tonight, and stay tuned for a Wednesday or Thursday night show. Until then, see you on the next one. Peace out.